docuseries utilized to capture the raw prison experiences of ex-offenders who have now revitalized their lives and become productive members of society. I myself have had the experience of being incarcerated, and it changed my life forever. Instead of allowing prison to break me, I used it to my benefit, and it forced me to become revolutionary. And with that, I give you With Time We Can.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? We back with yet another episode of With Time We Can. Today we got a special treat, man. One of my neos, Tahid Aleem, gave me the privilege of talking to his father, OG Mack, or Mack. You know, and Mack, he really is an interesting man. You know, he has a hell of a story. Now, I mean, two beautiful kids that graduated from Lincoln University with myself. And I just want to turn it over to Mack so he could tell you a bit of his story.
First, thanks, for taking this time out, you know what I mean, and have any interest, right? Because
Definitely.
For so long, we as black men was told that we shouldn't even have a voice, right?
Definitely.
You shouldn't have an opinion, right? You ain't really got nothing smart to say, right? Especially if you didn't graduate from a certain thing, right? So, thanks, for actually letting me be here. But my story is no unique than anybody else's, right? So I think that I will actually be doing the people a disservice by telling them a bunch of jail stories and what I have a child and in the yard is rough and shanks and this, that, and the third, right? That's nothing unique about those stories, right? The unique thing about a different person's story is that a person chooses a thing. I chose the penitentiary.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? Because life had choices, right?
Okay.
Because it don't start at the fruit, it started at the root, right? So now as a child, right, you grow up around a certain thing, right? And I grew up in the JBN era, right? And I'm seeing the old heads and they run around at 300 C's and with the top cut off, you follow what I'm saying? It cost 7,500 just to get it cut off. If they only came hard, they ain't come soft, right?
All right.
So we come from that era, you know what I'm saying? Where European cars really start hitting the black man because we preyed on our own with the crack epidemic, right? So when you seeing these things as a young kid, I was so intrigued by it. Like, wow, like, you know what I mean? Like, they really, when I was coming, they used to call it clocking, right? So now, like, you get 6th, 7th grade, right? And then you see, like, a person from another neighborhood. Like, I'm from this side of the tracks. I'm from South Philly, right? So I'm from 23rd Street, you know what I'm saying? And that was a big deal, you know what I mean? Then, you know what I'm saying? But you just couldn't be from 33rd Street. You had to be from 23rd Street known for something. Right? You got to be known for something because everybody had a lane, everybody had their own thing, right? So now, across the tracks, which is across Washington Avenue, you had those guys, they may have been a little more faster than our side as far as my age group in regards to like the drug game. It was like more plentiful on that side, right? So, we saw them going to middle school and stuff like that, junior high, like, wow, you know what I mean? Like, and we used to say, man, they clocking. Right? That was the rap then. They clock, wasn't no trapping. every generation has a lingo, right? But I understood now why that lingo exists, right? The lingo exists because we can't call a thing a thing, right? So if we able to call it something different, we're able to accept it, right? And do it. So it's clocking, it's trapping, right? It's not actually poisoning your community. It's not actually, you know what I mean, causing a genocide, right?
That's dope.
We gonna call it trapping. So now we got permission to do it because we calling it a fly name, right?
Absolutely.
So that's what we do with anything, right? So as a kid, we saw these things and I didn't come up in that kind of family, right?
What question? What year was it around this time that you was coming up?
This is 89. Matter of fact, 88, 89.
Okay, so that's when you was really in.
This is 88, 89. I'm a kid. I'm not involved, but I'm watching it. And I'm very perceptive about what I watch. If you show me something once, I'm going to do it. Right? Not that I'm following. It's just that I'm understanding. I'm putting it in my tool belt. I need something else to make me get past or actually navigate me through what needs to be navigated through to get where I come from, man. It ain't no picnic. You follow what I'm saying? You ain't just... that ain't how the strangest thing, right? Where I come from as a child, you learned that the strong survive, the weak surrenders. And years later, as a teenager going to the penitentiary, guess what rule was still there? Strong survive, the weak surrender, right? So this is 88, 89, I'm getting intrigued. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So, take my first step, you know what I mean? Me and my buddy, you know what I mean? We'll always leave nameless. We don't name names, right?
I got you.
That's still a part of the rule, right? No name, no names, right? So me and my buddy, we went, you know, we put in a few ones, you know what I'm saying, at a particular time, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody wasn't invited in.
Right.
And on my block, you know, we had somebody that was older than us, right? That he wouldn't allow us to be on the block.
Oh, okay.
You follow what I'm saying? We had to stay in the middle of the block on my porch. Most of my friends and us, we just sat on my step because it was double joint step.
Yeah,
and there was a lot of room.
Yeah,
so we just sat on my step for the most part. My mom hated it. Hated it, right?
Hated it, okay.
Right? But that's how we grew up because we wasn't allowed. 1989, he got killed at St. Charles Skating Rink.
Your friend.
My old
Your old here. Okay. Okay.
got killed in 89, and it left the block wide open.
Wow.
There was nobody there to deter us anymore.
So it was right.
You became, you went from playing football in Middle Street, jailbreak, catch a girl, get a girl, all that to what we gonna do now?
Right.
They still coming around. They looking for something. We don't know where to find it. But my man, my buddy, my ace, who I started the block with, his brother was involved. Right?
Yeah.
It didn't give him enough cachet to get it from him, but it gave us just enough that we could get it from somebody else.
Okay.
Because they knew if it go bad, we can go to him and get it back from him if they mess up.
Okay.
Because we're not sure where we're gonna mess up, but we're gonna give you a shot.
Right.
I'll never forget it, man. We sat down at the table, man, and we put it together, man, and $640. You talk about that, 12 years turned 13 years old, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's
$640, well, $320 a piece, me and him, you know what I mean?
Yeah. That's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money for a young kid, right?
Yeah.
So that was the draw-in for me, you know what I mean? And that's where it kind of started. But before then, right, I grew up, you know what I mean, in a Christian home with a Christian mother, right?
Right.
Who married a wonderful guy, man. I mean, this guy, like, the things that he did for us, I mean, as a stepfather, you follow what I'm saying, take responsibility for a child that wasn't even his. And he never treated me differently.
Wow.
Never wanted to discipline me until my mother made him disciplined, right?
Wow.
Because he understood that, right? And the thing about it, the most scariest thing about it is that her marriage drove a wedge between me and her. Right?
Yeah. Well, how so?
Because the first love of a daughter is his father, and the first love of a boy is his mother.
Okay.
And I felt like somebody came in, right? And you had older parents. Then it was from old school when if a man come into a home and he taking care of you, that's your father.
Right, of course.
Right?
Of course.
So now I have to call a man dad that's not my dad.
Even though he was cool.
Even though he was a great guy.
Yeah.
My father went to the penitentiary in 1980. Right?
Okay.
So I knew my father.
Right.
You follow what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't a teenager yet, but I was of age, old enough, believe me, old enough to understand what happened to my father.
Right.
Because I would normally go over to my grandmom's house every weekend or so. Mm-hmm. And when I got there, you know what I mean, they said, well, your dad got locked up. Right? So like, wow. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, things has changed. Okay. And then the following next year, my old get killed. So my pop go to jail 88. My old get killed 89. Right?
So
where am I at with it now? Right? So now I looked at it like my mother brought somebody to my life. She made me resent him just on the fact that she wanted me to call him
Dad.
Right. I have a father. And just to be honest, you know what I mean? He wasn't a very good one.
Right.
But he was mine.
Right.
I was good with that. Right? So it was different things that I dealt with as a child, right? In regards to my mentality and how, well, first of all, my mother only told me how to do one thing: instill fear.
Okay. How so?
It's not much that I actually know about my mom. I don't know what she like to eat. I don't know what she like. I don't know. The only thing I know, do or don't.
Okay.
And if you don't, there's a penalty.
Okay.
Right?
Yep.
There's a penalty. So that's just how it was.
Okay.
So I understood, and that built resentment. So now, on top of me having to call some man dad who ain't my dad, right?
Right.
You punishing me.
Right.
Right? And I'm saying, for him, and it's almost like we fighting over the same woman. Like you after me for this nigga?
Wow. Okay.
You follow what I'm saying?
Okay.
And a lot of people really can't grasp that's the dynamic of a home. Right? Mm-hmm. So even though it wasn't 10 of us in one house and we got to fight over a spoon and roaches coming out the cereal box and all those kind of things, I grew up in a row home. My stepfather, he worked in the Philadelphia Naval Shipyard. My mother did some teaching, you know what I mean, at one time, you know what I'm saying? Okay. So I don't really have that story. Right. Again, like I have an older brother that I lived with, right? And so much about him I wanted to be when I was younger, right? But I understood that we became different because I couldn't hold up to what he was actually accomplishing. He went to the Excel schools and things like that. I went to the neighborhood school. Yeah, right. That's why most people, even in my neighborhood, don't even know I have an older brother.
Wow, because y'all was so different. It's like y'all lived in the same house, but y'all grew up totally
completely different.
Wow, okay.
Yeah. So I said, well, if I can't keep up, man, I'm going to keep going.
And that's when it started.
And that's where it started at. Okay. So when I was 12, I ran away. Yeah. Right? Okay. Ran away. Hanging out tasking projects. I mean, listen, I don't think a 12-year-old kid was supposed to do the things I was doing at that time. You know what I mean? Yeah. 40s was just the lightest of it. You follow what I'm saying? Right. 40s was just the lightest of it at that time. Right. But then the community actually cared, right? Like I grew up from the time of 4 and 5 years old going to the penitentiary. Okay. Because my uncle, he was in the penitentiary first. Okay. Right? And my grandma would take me up there, right? And we sit there and mess around with. I remember one time that he was, messing with my older brother at this time, right? So, I was a little kid. I would say anything out of my mouth, right? I'm very blunt, right? So I slap him, man. He picked me up. He called me Rockhead, right? Okay. And I'm telling you, man, there's a heck of a dynamic. That name is going to come to fruition later on, you know what I'm telling you, right? Okay. So he picked me up and grabbed me, like he's going to take me to the back, like he's going to lock me up. I ain't even crying, like, like, come on, right? He breathed back. He said, Rockhead crazy, right? He always called me, he said, Rockhead crazy, right? Right. So I come up in the penitentiary, so there was a lack of fear. Because in my mind, like you ever seen that movie with that Money Talks? He said, hurry up and take me there. All my family dead, right? Wow. All my boys is dead, right? Yeah. So it was no fear because my family, you know what I mean? My family is family right there, right? Wow. So, by the time I made my choices again, I chose the penitentiary. And a lot of people don't think that as children, you have a choice. Because we're told we don't have a choice. Listen, you from an impoverished neighborhood, you're part of a certain demographic, you look a certain way, you're dark skinned. That wasn't popular when I was coming up. Right. Popular, damn. Yeah. Wasn't popular when I was coming. You couldn't have a big nose, big lips, and dark skin. Yeah. Right? Damn. You didn't get a lot of play. You follow what I'm saying? Oh, I know. But you know what I mean? Yeah. Those are the things, those self-images that they put on you as a child, you felt almost less because we weren't that far removed from if you black, get back. If you brown, you stick around. If you white, you all right. That kind of thing had just left. Right? Because my parents lived through that. So now they give it to us subconscious. Right. So you grow up in that. So I had to be a little tougher, a little more stern, you follow what I'm saying? Because I refused to, you ain't gonna talk about me and beat me. Right. Wow. I'm gonna beat you. Yeah. So now leading up to me wanting a certain thing, like I said, I was told that I couldn't be no better than what I was going to be. And you have generational curses. Like people become great people or people become sometimes failures based on their lineage and what they're told to have pride in. Okay. Right? Because I was always told I was like my uncle. The one that was locked up. Okay. So now I said, yeah, I am like Nutman, right? Wow. I am tough as Nutman. Damn. So now I'm gonna be Nutman. You follow what I'm saying?
Ended up right.
And I ended up spot. Right there. Right. So as I'm growing and going through, different things in society, I'm making choices. And the most terrible thing that ever happened to us as black men is that our culture, we have no patches of rights. No rights of patches, right? Nobody tells us at some point, listen, you're a man right now. And this is your responsibility. You have other cultures that do that, right? The Jewish people, they have bar mitzvahs, right? They tell a young man at 13, listen, you're a man now. Right. You're responsible for yourself, right? So in a way, we had no rights of passage. So our rights of passage became hustling, sex, teen parenting, the ability to instill violence and fear, right? These became our rites of passage.
That's deep.
So once I did all that, I'm Mack.
He was out. Yep.
That's what it is, right? But Mack came with a cost that I didn't know or understood, right? I just know I had no fear of a thing. There was no deterrent for me because I'm not afraid of anything.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
In regards to a situation, but I have a great fear of everything. I'm scared of everything, actually. Scared of people, I'm scared of animals, I'm scared of everything. But that fear makes me strike first.
Okay.
Because I have a fear of not making it home to our family. I have a fear of not making it home to your friend. I have a fear, right? Of his mom saying, your father got killed. I have a fear of that.
Right.
So in order for that not to happen, I'm going to do everything I can.
That's real.
Right?
That's real.
And I got a rule. My rule is call me anything but God. I ain't gonna never get God.
Damn. You say that one more time, man.
Call me anything but God. I'm not going to get God.
Not going to get God.
You didn't even understand when you walked up, I faced my chair facing that way because I'm never going to keep my back to traffic.
Wow. I didn't even peep that.
I'm never going to keep my back to traffic because I have to see a thing coming.
Right.
Let me tell you this here. Let me go off for 1 second just to understand how powerful that sight is, right? Is think about this. The sun, these clouds, right? How many miles away are they?
Shoot, I don't know. Thousands. Yeah,
millions of miles away, right? It's maybe a couple people, maybe a couple feet away. What are they saying?
Sure, I don't know.
Can't hear them, can you? But you can see the sun.
Yeah.
That's how trouble is. You can see it from far away. And if you hear it, it's too close.
Wow. Okay.
It's too close.
Damn.
So I always kept trouble in our view. And I'm a strike first.
Right.
And that became the premise. That became who I became. I'm going to strike first.
Wow.
Call me anything but God. So now I'm priding myself in it. So now the terrible thing about it is that I hadn't yet gone to the penitentiary yet, but now my uncle's hearing about what I got going on out there, right? And my dad is hearing out, you know what's going on, right? And they proud of me.
Yeah.
You feel me? In a very strange way. Right? They're proud of me. Now my pop always called me little man.
Right.
My uncle called me rockhead.
Okay.
Right? So now I want to be a little man with a rock head.
Wow.
Kids believe what you label. That's a fact.
Okay.
Kids believe exactly what you tell them because you're an adult. You know better, right?
Yeah.
So they believe that. So now, I'm getting to my teenage years and I'm already involved, and now my uncle comes home. No, man, it's home. Oh man, I'm telling you, man, it's like the second coming. You hear me?
Yeah.
Oh man, I was so listen, but I was so glad, he came home, right?
Right.
And he had me, with him, and this is for the advent of cell phones and all these kind of things, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I would have to call my grandma's house. I say, is Wayne here? Say, yeah, he is. So I get on the G. I get on the 7 in the G. I'm from South Philly, so I got to get on the 7. My grandma lived up West Philly, up 55th and Poplar. Okay. So I get on the 7, I get on the G, take a ride by myself, right? Get up there just so I can hang out with Nutman. You feel what I'm saying?
Right.
Because this is the person that they always told me I was so much alike.
Right.
I never forget the first time I really, really sat and had a conversation with Nut. I came to my grandma's house, and he came to the door. He had the real penitentiary look.
Yeah.
I mean, with 4 arms, like he slapped you with, he'd slap you to sleep. You hear me? So he had one of those looks, right? And he told me, he said, Rock, he said, don't ever go to jail. He said, I did enough time for the family. So I asked the dumbest question right then and there. I said, you're lifting weights? He said, Rob, look at it.
Right. Yeah.
He said, look at it. But now, I'm the son that he never had because he did so much time in the penitentiary.
Yeah.
He fell when he was a teenager and came home in his 30s. Right? So now I'm the son that he always wanted.
Right.
You follow what I'm saying? My brother, he didn't really bang with my brother like that. Because my brother saw life differently. Yeah. He was more progressive than myself.
Right.
So I'm hanging out with Nut all that summer, you know what I mean? He lied, come back and tell everybody, yeah, man, I went and got him a BJ, you know. I said, man, so now I go back to the house, you know, my cousin, they laugh, oh, I heard Wayne got you. I said, Wayne lying, right? Right? He's lying, but I understood what he was doing, right? He was trying to live vicariously because he lost so many years and lost his youth that he wanted to live through me. Right. I remember one time I go up there, so Nut say, he said, Rocky, stay right up front of here, man. He said, man, running here real quick, you know what I mean? Take care, my man, left some stuff in there, whatever, and I'm gonna take care, I'm gonna grab it, boom, right out. Right. The whole time, Nut robbing the joint. What? Come out with the stuff, boom, we peeled. We sitting on his steps, on the steps of his friend, his female friend at the time. We come up from the gym, you gotta get some female friend, right? Right. I didn't understand why he chose her. She really wasn't that attractive. And all these kids in here. Yeah. But it was definitely wasn't about that. Okay. It was about a convenience. Right. Men live off convenience. Makes sense. Right? So lo and behold, I see a guy come up. He say, man, y'all see somebody in my house? So now I look. That's the first time I understood that you just pay attention and you don't say much. Nut say, no, wow, what's up? What happened? I said, man, somebody went in my spot. Wow. I said, what? He played a role. Oh, man, we got, I said, wow. Yeah. Nut is everything they told me he would be. And you got to witness all that. But he instilling tools. Yeah. Again, that's another thing I put in my toolbox. Right? So now, fast forward some years, I get locked up, right? But my situation, how I get locked up a little different because I was actually shot up by the police. You were shot up by the police, right? Oh, wow. I got into a fire exchange with the police.